Let's try to look at Chelsea objectively. Now Chelsea are in a very, very tricky position. Very tricky position. Now, what Chelsea are gonna do this transfer window? Who knows? Are they gonna go out and splash the cash on someone like a Rafael Leao? Who knows? But in my opinion, and I'm just gonna say this, and this of course will link to who I think Chelsea should sign. Chelsea are a team that are filled with so many egos, it's unbelievable. You have about 7 or 8 players who want to be the best. You have Aubameyang who wants to be the number one guy. You have Havertz who wants to be the number one guy. You have Ziyech who wants to be the number one guy. You've got Nkunku coming in who's going to want to be the number one guy. You've got Mount who's asking for 300 grand a week. You've got so many players who are asking for so much and who are demanding so much because they think so highly of themselves, right? And then you've got those players, but then you've also got Amari Hutchinson, Lewis Hall. You've got these kids, Chukwuemeka. You've got these kids. The gap in terms of dynamics of the squad is so far apart. It's so far apart. I can probably list maybe 3 or 4 players in the squad that are in between that aren't superstars, in massive quotation marks, but aren't kids. I would say maybe Aspilicueta is one of them. I would say maybe Cucurella's another one. I would say maybe... Jorginho thinks he's a superstar. Kovacic is probably Chelsea's best player this season. Apart from that, Broja, he's injured. Loftus-Cheek, Gallagher, he thinks he's better than what he is, in my opinion. The gap in the dynamics of the squad is too drastic. So you need to bring a player in the squad who will just do a job. No fuss, not expensive, doesn't have an ego, will be content to sit on the bench, just does his job. Now, it would be a shame... I'll tell you who Chelsea could really use right now. A certain French World Cup winning striker that is tearing it apart in Serie A, but I can't quite put my finger on who that might be. He played for Arsenal for quite a long period of time, went to AC Milan, is rejuvenising his career. I can't quite think of the guy, but so I've gone with someone different. And I've gone with a player who I don't think a lot of people will know of. Yes, I've slightly gone for this player because he's tearing it apart in my Football Manager save at the moment. But I have he's a player which I think fits the profile of player Chelsea need, especially for both the short term and for the long term, very well. He's a player that plays for SC Freiburg in Germany, who currently sits second in the Bundesliga, and that is Michael Gregoritsch. Now he's a striker. Obviously, he's a striker, right? So that goes back to what I also think Chelsea need. I don't think I was going to say centre-back. They got Badiashile. I was going to say midfielder. They all but going to get Enzo Fernandez. So they left me with striker, right? Okay. Okay. So with what Chelsea need in terms of... I've got the dynamics under wraps. That's why I think Chelsea need this player in terms of dynamics-wise. And striker-wise, Broja's injured for a year. Aubameyang shit. Havertz isn't a striker. Nor is Nkunku. So we need a striker. We need a striker. They need a striker. I'm trying to remain impartial. Chelsea need a striker. Now, what Gregoritsch offers. Now, a lot of people won't know him, so I'll give you some background information on the guy. He's 6 foot. He's got 6 goals and 3 assists in 15 games. He's 28 years old. He's left-footed. He's I think 193 centimeters. Can play both as a 9 and also as a 10/inside forwards on either side. So that suits the 3 at the back system that Potter likes to occupy at times. And he is just he's just good enough. Like, that's what Chelsea need. They just need someone who's good enough that won't crack up a fuss. He'll come in, if Chelsea get him in this transfer window, he will come in for 6 months in the back end of the season and just do a job. He'll do a job. He'll come in, he'll score a goal every other game, will assist a goal every other game, and will just come in and do a job, which doesn't sound glamorous, but Chelsea have 11 players on the pitch that aren't doing their jobs. So if Chelsea can bring someone in who will do their job, that's a great start. He's technically capable enough to be both a 10 and a 9. Like I said, he has great finishing capabilities to be a 9. Like I said, 6 goals and 3 assists in 15 games so far this season is a pretty good record for a team that doesn't dominate games. Granted, Freiburg is second in the Bundesliga, but they're not the Bayern Munichs of the world, right? He's got the physical presence enough to worry defenders both in the air and on the ground, can drop deep, can pick up the ball, can carry the ball, and can create as well. His contract is expiring as well, I do believe, so it could be a slightly shrewd signing in a sense that could pick him up for very cheap. This wouldn't cost Chelsea more than 20-25 million at the absolute maximum, and I just think it's a signing that Chelsea, unassuming signing that they just need to get done, because it seems like every signing Chelsea has got is either a prodigy 18-year-old who's going to be the best player in the world in 5 years, so Chelsea are going to have 11 Ballon d'Or winners in 5 years, or it's a 28-year-old or a 24, 25, 26, 27-year-old best player in the world in their position, in quotation marks, £450 million a week, £6 million signing on fee, like £400 million transfer fee, just this ridiculous, ludicrous, lucrative contracts for lucrative money for big, high potential, high profile players. You don't win leagues with 11 superstars, you just need players who are going to do their role. Gregoritsch will come into this side and just do his job, which is something, like I said, Chelsea have just lost 4-0 to Man City. And Chelsea don't have players who are going to do their job. The gap between a bunch of 18-year-olds, a bunch of kids, and a bunch of people who think they're superstars is too big. The dynamic in the squad is too big. You need to come in, you need a player to come into the squad and just humble everyone. I think a player like Gregoritsch will come in and will do his job, and in turn will just humble everyone. Aubameyang will look at him and think, who's this guy coming in for £15 million, earning 25k a week, that's starting above me, and that's scoring goals? Oh, wait, he's actually doing his job. He's got his head down in training, he's improving standards, he's doing his job, he's just getting the job done. And then the 18-year-olds are going to look at him, are going to look at a player like Gregoritsch and say, oh yeah, he's not flashy, he's not worth 100 million, he's not earning 300k a week, but he's starting, he's scoring, he's assisting, he's doing his job, the boss likes him, and he's a good player. Someone like Gregoritsch. I've mentioned Gregoritsch because I just think value for money rise, he could be one of the better players in this kind of bracket of players, but unless Chelsea want to ride off the season and just play kids and just sign a bunch of 18-year-olds, who knows? But yeah, I think someone like a Michael Gregoritsch will come in and do a more than fine job for Chelsea. If we bring up his FB ref here, my eyes immediately go to those defensive numbers. Once again, just a no nonsense, no fuss, job done footballer. Elite defensive numbers. Brilliant tackles, interceptions, block clearances, aerials 1. Non-penalty goals per 90 of 0.57, which is ranks in the 88th percentile. He's a more than capable finisher. And I don't know who's Chelsea's top goal scorer this season. It's probably I actually have no idea who's Chelsea's top goal scorer this season. I can guarantee you, if it's above 5 goals, I would be surprised. I would be shocked. Yep, it's Kai Havertz with 4 goals. Gregoritsch has scored 6 in a team that has far less superstars than Chelsea. Once again, in massive quotations. Bring up his average positions here. Like I said, can drop in, play a 10, sticks relatively centrally. Like I said, can play on the left if needed, but can just drop into the hole, pick up the ball, use his physical presence to hold it up and give it off to slightly more talented footballers. Once again, in quotation marks, because I emphasise this a lot. Chelsea's talented footballers aren't talented; they all suck. If we remember his average positions again, he like I said, hold up the ball and can drop into the 10, use his technical ability to create that way, whilst also being a very good finisher in the box. Can be a poacher, good positioning. I just think he's a signing that Chelsea need. I'm slightly harsh on the players because I don't think all of them suck. I think a lot of them do, but they just need a player who is just no fuss, do his job, versatile, and just does his job. I'm putting a lot of emphasis on someone doing their job, which really should be the minimum expectation for footballers at the professional level. But Chelsea have players who just don't do their job. They just don't do it. I think Thiago Silva, Kovacic, and Reece James before he was injured are the 3 players this season that can hold their head high. in my opinion, for Chelsea. And they're the three players who, Reece James is, I mean, otherworldly how good he is. But Kovacic is just a hard worker. Out of possession, in possession, hard worker, doesn't stop. I know, apparently he didn't clap the fans off at the Etihad the other day, or this morning, for when I'm recording it, which is disappointing, but still. Hardworking, doesn't stop, good trainer by all accounts, that type of player. And then Thiago Silva, ultimate professional. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree here. You need to bring professionals. Stop bringing in egomaniacal, flair, jewel in the crown, mercurial players, because it doesn't work. Look at Potter, and look at that side. Look at the Brighton side that he had. Look at the Brighton side that Potter had. Right? Where are the superstars? Where are the superstars? There's none. And he was getting them very good finishes in the league, playing very good football, because it was just 11 people who did their job, who played a role and did it well. Focused on their role and did it well. Gregoritsch will come in and do that in abundance. That's why I think Chelsea should go and get him. And also it helps that they've signed a centre-back, which they need, and they're probably going to sign a midfielder as well. But 127 million for Enzo Fernandez is ridiculous as well, by the way. Just quietly. But, anyway. It's one of those things, right? It's one of those things where I'm not a football coach, so I can say all this all I want, and I can say, Chelsea need this, this, and this, but Potter could be like, no, I want Enzo Fernandez, I want Rafael Leao, I want Kvaratskhelia from Napoli, or I want Osimhen, or I want all these players. He's just a fine stopgap who, for 6 months, will do a job, and then next year, once Chelsea sign an actual good striker who'll do his job as well, he'll be on the bench, play cup games, play less meaningful Prem games, and will just be a fine Chelsea player. We'll be a fine Chelsea player. We'll be like Divock Origi. I think that's a very good comparison. He'll be Chelsea's Divock Origi after this season. If they get him, come off the bench, do a job, bang. That's all you need. Okay.